And you know it's Wednesday and it's 7 o'clock. You know what time it is.
We're back, baby.
We chasing gazillions ain't the same as making millions.
It is down in Deerfield Beach where the old people live.
Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony back here, season 2. We think it's episode 16. We're not quite sure. Is it 16?
Things are getting a little cloudy, but it's fine.
Things are getting cloudy here.
Things are a little cloudy.
But we have a wonderful show for you all today. We are bringing, by popular demand, you wanted her back. This has become a recurring issue. It's something that people are asking for. Hey, give the people what they want. That's what I say. Don't give them what we think they need. Give people what they want.
And everyone in their 50s needs what she's going to give us.
That's right. Exactly.
Unless your parents died when they were younger. Then that, I'm sorry.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to have on as our guest again, Amy Griffin, the principal and architect of, I think it's called Life and Legacy Counselors now, formerly the Griffin law firm. It's a Black-owned and women-owned law firm, estate planning, on TV, a celebrity. Dude, I saw her on like 2 TV shows.
Nice. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yes. That's how we rolling now, right? The celebrities coming on to our show.
Including us, celebrities.
Are we famous?
Oh, in my head, I'm very famous in here. In between the ears. I just won that golf championship, by the way. I don't know if I told you recently.
No, but Fernando, tell us again where you've been, because we all live to hear every week your travels. Although last week you was down in Miami with your moms. I want to hear about that. But before you talk about your moms, on a lighter note, what was happening with you? Where'd you go?
Casa de Campo, Dominican Republic. It's beautiful.
To the DR.
Highly recommend it.
Okay.
A 26-year golf trip, buddies trip.
Okay.
And my 3rd championship. I've had 5 second places. I've choked a lot. Recently, I've been in the final group the last 3 years in a row.
Okay.
And finally closed the door this year.
This is in golf you're talking about.
Yes, we played 72 holes, not 1 hole. 72 holes of golf. A tournament. 20 guys. Prize money. Everyone throws in a couple $100 into the kitty for the prize money.
Right.
So
nice.
it's legit.
And you won it this year. Congratulations.
I won it this year, yeah.
All right. I love it.
Won 6.
And you got back home, because I hear a lot of people go to the DR, they don't get back.
It's lovely there. You can stay there. It's not expensive either. It's pretty cheap. Where we stay is expensive because it's the highest resort in the whole island.
Oh, okay. Where's that?
You can, in La Romana, on the southern point. But you can go to right from the resort, go outside, 25-cent beers, plate of food for $1. Good food, not crap. It's very cheap.
Okay.
Very third world, but we're in the first world in the resort life.
Okay.
It's nice.
All right, nice.
We didn't leave the resort this year. In years past, this is our 7th time there. In years past, we have left the resort, but not this year. We just decided let's stay in. We're getting kind of old, and everyone is exhausted at the end of the night.
Right.
Nobody wants to go into the town to some nightclub.
It happens.
Things change.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on with you?
Well, did we mention that I sold 1800 Shepherd Street, that 13-unit apartment building?
No.
Yes.
Closed?
You know that's right, brother.
Oof. That must have been a pretty penny.
It was really nice. And a couple other transactions, working with some other clients, co-op here, condo there, got a new listing just last week. a mixed-use development here in DC. 25 3-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms, over 6,000 square feet of retail space in the heart of Anacostia, at Good Hope and 15th Street. Asking price $12 million. Fully finished, delivered, finished.
Price of poker has gone up in Anacostia. Wow.
Well, that's a lot of units, man. 25 3-bedroom, and they are nicely done. Got
It's
two
a lot of money too.
got 2 penthouse units. Man, it is worth the tour.
Oh, the penthouse looking back toward the Capitol kind of
You
deal?
know that's right, man. Beautiful views. This is 1916 15th Street Southeast. Right, it's oh man, it
On
is.
the river?
You can see the river.
Of course. From Anacostia, you can see the river everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
But all of the development and all this property is right in the middle of the path of development, right up the street from DHCD. All those new things going on at the 11th Street Bridge. It is a beautiful. The developer here has put a lot of time and attention into this property. It's great for affordable housing. This is one that's not going to last. I'm already getting inquiries.
And it's done already? Finished?
Finishing. He's just putting the finishing touches on it. Yes.
And then he's selling it.
And he's selling it.
And he
But
hired
it's
you
good.
to sell it.
Huh?
Wow. That's strong. He hired you to sell it. So this is a brand new
Yes.
project.
Yes.
Wow. That is an interesting niche that a lot of realtors don't get into. Typically, they like to do those in-house.
Mhm.
Developer investors, they try to keep those deals in-house. I'm glad they hire a professional to handle
Yeah.
the professional business that we do.
That's right.
Not
Exactly.
do it themselves where they screw up every way along the way. I'm glad they had seriously, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a
And
very specific
and we
niche
here at the
deal.
Anthony Bowling Group are excited to have won this assignment.
Yeah, that's really exciting. It's gonna be a healthy commission as well.
Well, got to close it. I mean,
We gotta get some food. It's your time to treat. I'm hungry. We gotta get some food. I want a little brunch. Feeling a little brunch.
well, if you stay in the country, brother, I'll feed you.
For brunch, I'll stay in the city.
Okay. There you go. All right. Hey, and you know what? Is it next week? I think I'm not going to be here next week. I serve on the DC Appraisal Commission board,
Yes.
and they're going to be having their annual ARO conference, and I am going.
Where are you going? Virginia?
I'm going to Savannah, Georgia.
Ooh, that's a nice city. That's a lot of fun. You can get
Is
some
it?
trouble there, by the way. You can get in some real trouble there.
I'm thinking about taking my clubs. I'm thinking, or at least take a club.
Well, Hilton Head's like half hour away.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but I'm be working. It's a conference. I mean, I'm not going to be. I'm gonna be working.
Maybe you can play one hole because you're busy.
That's right. That's right. I can get one hole.
One hole's good
Look,
for you.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. That's next week.
So you won't.
You
be
know
here.
what? You know who else is traveling?
Who?
Saturday, Eliza, my daughter. She works for the CDC with indigenous people for the Indian Bureau of Indian Affairs.
I didn't know that. It's exciting.
You didn't know that?
It's a neat
Yeah.
job.
They send her somewhere every other month. You know where she's going Saturday?
Let me think. Miami, Florida.
Alaska.
Wow.
Right.
The last frontier.
Alaska. She just came back from Seattle, Washington. And now they send her to Alaska.
It's still snowing there, though, by the way. It's cold still there.
It's cold. Okay, look, we're coming up on top of the 10 minutes here. We got to bring in our guests.
All right.
You ready?
Always in a hurry to shush off with the good stuff. Let's go.
No.
Let's
But
get
sometimes when you get, some of these guests,
I get the talking. I
know. And then they, I don't know if we lose them or not. I mean, I don't want to forget about it.
We have yet to have a bad guest, so I don't think so.
No, we never have a bad guest.
No.
Quality. Hold on. Before I bring on, let's see who's in the chat.
You know who it is. Your
Do I know who
favorite
it is?
line. The pride of the Commonwealth.
The
Damn wahoos.
the Virginia bushcraft is here. Yup. I saw that in a unit on how. Oh, yeah, that's right. I got another listing. That's right. I'm working. I'm up in Baltimore. I got a mixed use development up in Baltimore, too.
Be more.
B-more? Is that what we call it? Okay, I thought it was Baltimore. But he saw both those. All right, Virginia bushcraft. Way to go. All right, it's 10 minutes. Now it's time to bring in the guests. We never keep them waiting longer. All right, everybody. Here is Amy Griffin with Life and Legacy Counselors here. Everybody.
Good evening. Hello. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. Yes, one of our strongest podcasts. Oh, so well attended, so much great information. And we had to get you back now because Fernando, I'll let him tell his story about him and his mom, but we were talking about it and we were like, what can we do? Who should we call? And then we said, we hey, call you. So Fernando, why don't you tee it up and then we'll let Amy jump in as though you were like a real client who called her up and you just came back from visiting your mom's in Miami.
So here's the issue, Amy. I'm 58. Mom's 88. Went and saw her February. I have 5 brothers, 6 boys. 5 of them live down in South Florida with her and kind of take care of her. But I like to go down every couple months, give them a break, obviously, because it's to the point now it's 24/7 care. You know, she needs help. So it is funny how quickly elderly people deteriorate when they get older. I mean, 2 months, 3 months time is a huge change in their ability to do things for themselves. Let's say, I was like, wow, really shocked how much it deteriorated in the last 2-3 months, and it got me to thinking. I mean, the care and the ability to take care of them. I mean, luckily for me, I have 5 brothers, and we can all step in, and we all have families, and the wives are all stepping in and helping out. Everyone's, doing their part. But I also have my wife's family, and her mom is getting older too. Her mom's 87, but her mom is still living on her own and doing okay. But there isn't really a game plan for that. And I've never thought about it. I don't think a lot of people think about it. And then it hits you in the face and you're like, oh shit, we better come up with a game plan quickly. And I don't mean, you've talked about wills and estate planning and preserving your wealth and all that stuff. That part of it, we know, you've told us about it. I am talking about the essentials of just caring for an elderly person and the options that are out there for people who don't have a big family, for people who, and we don't have a lot of means. It's not like my mom has a lot of money or anything. It's just, we have a lot of bodies that can help her out. She has her own place. So we're just alternating people through her place, kind of taking care of her. And it's just where she lives with my brother, it's a 2-level townhouse and her bedroom's upstairs. So my brother installed one of those ramp things, along the steps to take her up and down. But I took her to my other brother's house who didn't have that, and I had to get her upstairs to shower. And it took me all of 15 minutes to get her upstairs. It was really slow, and I thought she was going to fall. I wouldn't call it dangerous, but it's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
And so it got me to thinking, my Lord, there's got to be a ton of people in my age group that are going through this. If not everyone whose parents are still alive are going through it. And what options do they have? I know there's assisted care, there's 24/7 care, there is part-time care, there's people bring your meals to you. I know there are programs out there. We were trying to find some to help my mom out, and I think we found one where her Medicare or Medicaid pays for to have someone come in for 8 hours a day just to kind of stay with her and cook her a meal, give her a bath, whatever. Um, I don't know the whole scope of it, but it was really eye opening because I spent a week with her, taking care of her 24/7 for a week, and it was a lot. I mean, I was physically and mentally exhausted after that week, and I'm a pretty tough guy, and I was wiped out,
Well,
literally.
also I want you to factor in. First of all, it is draining to care for someone 24/7.
Yeah,
But also, I think part of that is the emotional shock of it. When you said a couple of months ago, she's far more capable. The decline can seem dramatic, and that's painful for us to see someone who took care of us to
right.
need that care. So that's part of the struggle. And I think that one of the things you started off with is in referencing your mom's age. And the struggle with that point of view is that you know, used to say when we were young and dating, the age was just a number. Now, what we know is that age is just a number because 80 is different on different people, right? You can't necessarily use that as the guideline because some people have come. I was just talking earlier today about actually just before I got on this call about my 94-year-old aunt who lived independently and drove all over the place, and and so but then we also have people who are in their 60s and their 70s, and they're not capable of being self-sufficient.
Well, real quick, just so you have the bearings of where my mom is. She's mentally 100% remembers things from her own childhood and my childhood. So, but physically falling apart.
Right.
Just
Again, but it's the number isn't necessarily the indicator of what the number of her years isn't
right,
necessarily the indicator because while she can be very capable in her mind's eye, but
yeah,
physically not, we have the other extreme as well. So I'm
right,
saying that it's hard to, I don't want people to feel like, okay, I need to prepare based on an age. That's what I was trying to suggest.
okay,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or- and knowing that we need to be thinking earlier before the show started you were talking about everybody over 50 should be prepared. Again, we know people who have early onset of stuff,
right,
um, that we should be constantly being prepared for what does it look like. I know when I think I mentioned you guys last time I was here that I just 3 years ago, or I'm actually going to be going on 4 years ago, got remarried. And when we were deciding where to live between my house and his house, we were thoughtful about the fact that his house is an easier house to age in place. And so, and thinking about what that looks like and how do we manage that, and so I had, tons of stairs upon stairs upon stairs, which I loved, but knowing that we're continuing to grow up, and what we're mindful of is what does that look like to have support in place, as you talked about your brother's house, your second brother's house, and it was dangerous, not just for your mom bringing upstairs, but the person who's trying to bring her up the stairs.
Oh, no, no, if she tilts back, I'm going down with her. Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah,
And so, so often the caregiver is as much risk as the person we're caring for,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? That wear and tear. And so, what does that look like? And so, I want you to be thinking about it's not just, it's not just necessarily the stuff that we can see, and so we should be preparing. I say when we're as soon as we're grown-ups, we should be preparing and planning for what that looks like and how do we support one another to be
Mhm.
healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
part of this, the hard part about this conversation is that each uh, locale has different levels of support, right? Because while it is um, she lives in Florida, that each community has different services. Like, again, I encourage people to try to make sure that you tap into every resource available, like the senior services where you can have not just necessarily in-home supports, but also um, getting out potentially. The other thing is that I know that you were saying, one of my favorite stories is when I had this mom who was in her 90s and she had 7 kids. And so then they were all local. And so each kid took a day because it is absolutely exhausting. I mean, the fact that you did a whole week is a lot. That's a whole lot. And so, um, what are the support you place in place? Most people these days don't have that, 6 brothers, 5 brothers, or
Right.
siblings,
Right.
right?
Right.
And so
Right.
knowing that what resources are available that you can tap into so that each of you can be restored, and because you have to take care of you too.
Mhm. Are there, Amy, my, as an only child, my parents are both deceased, but my wife and her father passed a year or so ago, and her mother they're in the mountains in Asheville, and her sister has had to relocate to be in the home to support and provide care to her mom. And are there, uh, in these different locales, are there universal agencies, government agencies, that we can just call and say, hey, I got an 87-year-old, I got a 92-year-old. What do you got on tap? Does the internet help guide us towards a library of resources that we start with to try to help provide care?
So yeah, typically there's social, the Department of Social Services is the generic term,
Okay.
right? And so senior services is a general term, but each, county determines what they want to fund and what they don't fund, right? And so there are some things that are federally funded like Medicare and Medicaid. But again, while there's federal funding, the state implementation is distinctive. And so
Mhm.
that's why, we need to be thinking about exploring what are the options before we need them, you know. But of course, the eligibility is different for each one, each thing. I always encourage people who are veterans or spouses of veterans to be thinking about, okay, veteran services being what's eligible there, because
Mhm.
there is a significant amount of benefits that are for veterans folks. But again, each person has a different level of eligibility based on what their assets are. Because as we were saying, all those the government has some stuff where it's like you have sometimes senior day programs that they can go to, or senior services where someone will come into your home. But the question of eligibility is real. Right.
Mhm.
And so knowing what that is, typically, I always encourage people to be thinking about, one of which I want to protect your assets in so doing, but knowing what it costs. Because I know when I talk to many people about sort of Medicaid, and then they can have people come into the house. And will the state look for a recovery, which meaning the repayment for any of the services that were provided for them?
Mhm.
So
You
all of
were on the
those.
show before, Amy. We talked about some of the tools, with the estate, a will, and speaking for the person when they're gone. Do you have other tools that we should be aware of and mindful of before the very end that
Well,
we that we yeah.
let me start with the fact that these are tools that we should have at 18, right? Because when we don't want to wait till the very end, because we don't know when the very end is going to be,
No,
right?
we don't. No, we do not.
We don't get it. We don't get it a schedule that says, okay, at this point you're going to lose capacity. At this point you're going to need 24-hour care. You don't know that, so you need to position your stuff so that, one, you have the help when you need it. Because is it that Fernando's able to speak for his mom or manage assets or his mom, or even talk on behalf of your mom? You're not supposed to even open somebody else's mail, right? Legally, you can't open somebody else's mail, let alone to have someone talk about the care needs, right? You can't do that without a power of attorney. And so often we think, okay, that is just legacy, but it's also planning for our inability to speak for ourselves. So I encourage people to make sure that they have those things in place right away, because we don't know when we're going to need it. And also it's like, so that's one of the things that Fernando could be exploring, because he's not close to his mom, but he could have, if he has the power of attorney, he can act on behalf of her to do the exploration. And because he doesn't necessarily need to be there, he could be finding those resources by with the use of a power of attorney. Now, mind
Mm.
you, his mom is completely, has great cognition. However, That doesn't mean it still gives him the authority to speak for her. He needs legal documentation to say that he can speak on her behalf.
Okay. So there's a tool. Do you or any of your siblings, Fernando, have a power of attorney?
We have my wife's got a power of attorney for her mother in Pennsylvania because she lives there and we're here, and to do anything because we're not local is a little tougher. But with my mom, my older brother has a power of attorney.
Nice.
To handle and help her out. So
There's
that's been taken care of.
Okay.
One thing I will tell you, Amy, after the last show, my wife said I need to get a will. So I have made a promise myself that I will call you before the year's out and get a will done. Baby steps for me, Amy. Let's not talk about the other.
You know what? Wait, when was the last time I was on the show, Anthony?
Last year.
December last year, November.
Right, it was last year.
Oh, so it's just that. But you know, it's interesting. The thing is, we are, and Fernando, when we have this chat, it's about we're so mindful of everybody else around us. But then the reality is we need to get ourselves straight too.
Right. No.
Because that creates a burden for somebody else, right?
That's I gotta take care of me, Amy.
It is hard.
Anthony taught me that. You gotta take care of me. He's a singleton. He's only one kid. He's no brothers or sisters. I had 5 brothers and sisters. 3 of them beat me up on the daily. Anthony didn't have to deal with that.
People do what they can do, man. And those who get beat because they can be beaten.
I'm not really sure I've ever heard that approach, but
yes, I know. It trickled down, Anthony. I had 2 younger brothers. All right.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so power of attorney is certainly something you could put in place now. Starting at 18, people should have that kind of tool.
I mean, I guess, you know, as we think about, again, I always say 18 because when our kids go to college, or they need us to be able to support them, because we don't have legal authority to support our kids either, you know.
What do you mean? Because that dude who's been his away,
I feel supported.
I feel he is well supported.
But you know what though? You know, so let me tell you, for example, when let's say your child had an apartment,
he does
the land. If you're not on the lease, you have no legal authority to speak to his utility company.
I'm on the lease. I'm on my son.
Yeah, I'm on the lease.
Okay. Then the other piece is when my daughter was in college, she was in a car accident.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And so I didn't have legal authority to even speak to her doctors. Right.
I think my son signed something off when he went to school.
That's a FERPA typically.
That was it. Right. That's the form.
A FERPA, and that's just for the school.
Yeah.
Right. So again, when my daughter she lived in an apartment and was in a hospital that was not connected to the school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the rule here. You sign that form. I had one daughter who didn't want to sign the form. I'm like, well, you're signing the form. Otherwise, I
remember saying to my kids, you don't have to sign it, but I don't have to sign a check either.
Right.
I love that. Parenting skills. Okay.
But you know, again, and think about also, I guess part of the other thing is thinking about preparing your parents or the assets that in position, one, to make them eligible for any of the benefits that exist, right? How do you want to position those assets accordingly? And that's
thinking about perhaps someone looking back for reimbursement of services rendered. What kind of tools could we use, say, with real estate today to put it somewhere, and what kind of look back period would potentially someone be facing from the government or anyone else for that matter, a service provider looking back?
Like a living trust, I guess, type deal.
So, right, an irrevocable trust is makes it not accountable asset, right? If it's in an irrevocable trust. The other thing is it's typically a 5-year look back period. And so there are times when they'll say to you, we need to spend down, you know, that in order to be eligible, you have to have only have a certain amount of assets. And so you have to spend it down. And there are ways in which you can spend it down that don't count against you. You can't just like write your kid a check and say, okay, I've spent down now. There are specific things that you can spend it for. And being very thoughtful about how do we do that so that increases eligibility, because my asset limit has been diminished, but I am now, but you're not like wasting money or just, giving it away. But things like doing repairs on your house, paying the mortgage on the house, and that reduces your asset level. And it depends on, there sometimes we'll buy like an annuity so that asset becomes income for your spouse. And so that doesn't count. I mean, that's a way to spend down and sort of still protect the assets. And there's also, I know that Fernando was saying that his siblings were paying, so that taking care of his mom. And so there are times when we come up with caregivers payments, and we don't necessarily want the money from your mom. You don't necessarily want it, but that's a way to reposition it. So again, making her eligible.
I've talked to people about the houses and doing something with the house, because when I recently have a listing now where the mom, her life circumstances changes. She moved from her home in with her son, and now from her son to a facility, a residence for more care. And now we're going to sell the mother's property. And I think there's been some discussions about the facility saying, hey, and we want those proceeds. The family intends to use the proceeds from the sale of the property for the care of the mother. But oftentimes I hear people saying they don't want to use those proceeds from the sale of properties. And then someone says, well, we can look back on a sale going back 5 years. So are you saying we need to be planning to do disposition
so we should be protecting our assets?
Out?
We should be being mindful about protecting our assets always, right? We should always have that mindset of, how am I trying to build a legacy and protect my stuff, right? So there are people who have long-term care insurance. We know that will cover if there's a need. But if you don't, what is the strategy, right? And then especially as our parents get older or our loved ones get older, building the safeguard. You can do that without having, any way to disrespect them or, take anything away from them, just by positioning your assets accordingly.
Okay. So we don't, Mom, you can stay in the house. We don't have to sell out. Okay. What do you think about reverse mortgages then as a tool of protecting an asset? Is it protecting the asset?
It's not protecting the asset.
I'm not a fan of them.
Right. It's like you're losing that house to the family. For the family.
I'm not a fan of those.
One of those things, like, get a home equity line of credit instead.
Right.
Well, okay. If that's not rhetorical, my experience has been because Fernando and his 5 brothers have their lives and all, and what they don't have amongst them is the additional income needed to cover another expense, like a equity line in a mortgage, another mortgage payment. They all got 6 mortgage payments.
They do. They absolutely do. However, I would suggest to you that they'd rather pay a 1/6 of one than lose the whole house.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm glad you both are seemingly on a different side of this issue than me here. So I'll share with you what I see.
Are you a reverse mortgage guy, Anthony? You believe in it?
I'm a believer in it. Yes. Because I've seen too many properties lost where heirs were indecisive about who is responsible to care for, take care of, pay for, whatever it was. It involved money that no one was willing to put up, and the property was lost. And I'm saying, hey, I tell these clients who own their home, hey, your kid's gonna be okay, but you shouldn't be here eating cat food. you take this money and live. You want to stay here in your home? Fine. And when you're done living, let them worry about refinancing or selling or whatever. It's your house. They got theirs.
See, I hear you. And it is the times when I support a reverse mortgage is when it is a person who has no kids, right? Um, and then I want them to live their best life, right? But more often than not, people, people can rally. Their kids can rally together. But it's part of having this conversation before it's a crisis is number one, right? And so having that strategy in place, so it's not like, okay, first of all, let me just also say that if it's ever at a place where they're eating cat food, it's a whole different conversation. Anyhow, there's not a support system, right? Because if my mother was ever going to eat cat food, that's a whole different thing. Right. But if you have a circumstance in a situation where you have children who are supporting their parents and understand want their parents to have a good life, number one, and number two, they want to make sure that the legacy, they're a part of creating and building a legacy, right? Because there are strategies and ways to avoid it, right? Because what we know is a reverse mortgage increases the probability that all of the house is going to be lost. And what we know in this world is you're not making any more land, right? And land will appreciate, money's going to evaporate. So if we want a strategy to build legacy, we got to be thoughtful about doing it. Reverse mortgage is just saying, okay, yes, we know we're not going to have the house anymore.
Well, maybe I'm going to have to get a better understanding of this word legacy, because I got two clients right now who the owners, senior women in their 80s, who have lived, and the reverse now has been jacked up, but they've been living, and it's 30 years later, 20 some years later, and now the total mortgage is 600 plus, and now you have family members saying, family members saying, I want to keep mama's house. Okay, but you got a house. Yeah, but
right. But what we know, Anthony, is that if I have two houses, if I have a house, and because I shouldn't wait for my mom's house for me to have a house. So I have a house, my mom dies and I inherit another house, my net worth has gone up, right?
That's true. Yes.
Right. And so that's what legacy is about, not just staying the same, but how do we build for the next generation?
Okay.
Right.
Well, then I guess there was no planning here, because now these two families are facing 600 plus in mortgages, and they're saying, Anthony, help me. How do I keep this property?
There has been no planning, or because the thing is, we still need to be fiscally responsible, right? Because I had a mom today who was in the office, actually yesterday, who was in the office, and I know she has a reverse mortgage, but she also just told me she spent the last week in Atlantic City, right? So it's like, it's
Mom's
not
gotta live.
I'm saying there's a big difference between Atlantic City and cat food, right?
Yeah,
that's right. But I'm saying that's how it's yours. You work, you had it, you've been paying. You should be living and enjoying, and particularly if your level of risk tolerance won't allow you to go out and invest. And certainly I'm not encouraging you to go invest in anything that's going to have managerial responsibility, right? But if you're saying, hey, I just want to live, okay, but hey, I'm a parent too. I got a lady, and they want to take care of their babies, and they want to leave them something.
Well, right. And the thing is, what we do know is somebody who is inherits a house has a very different life choices than somebody who does not.
Yes, that is true.
Right. So, and that's what I'm just trying to say is that, do we want to position our children and our children's children to have choices, or do they have to? Because we know once you have a house, it's a very different position as opposed to trying to save the money together to buy a house, because we know that's becomes more and more difficult.
That's right. That's true. Okay. So you got a solution for me on refinancing this 600 plus mortgage on the reverse?
So no, I mean that's the problem. Is that what I say is that when there's a reverse mortgage, and it's lost. That's exactly why I am an anti-reverse mortgage person.
What's the house worth, Anthony?
Let's call it 750. I don't know.
Bye-bye.
But let's pretend it's 750.
They're going to come in and take it when the money runs out, because now they
they had a non-payment reverse, so it's just accumulating interest. The interest is just running right now.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, is it continues to, on one level, the longer they live, which we want them to live a long life, but we know that with the longer that they live, the greater the interest, the greater the probability that they're not going to have that house.
True.
Yeah, but which one was it? The way I condition my thinking is, and in light of what you're saying, Amy, I'm gonna have to challenge this. But up until today, I've always thought, hey, let the equity in the house. It's your house. Let it continue to serve you. You don't have income to pay a mortgage. Let the house now serve you and allow you to stay in your home where you are. Everyone says, hey, I want mama to stay in mama's house.
And so we should help mama stay in mama's house, right? That's because if I'm going to, this is how I believe, is that if mama has a house and I'm going to inherit it, I can contribute towards it so that it can be an inherited piece.
It's an investment for you as a kid, right?
Exactly.
That's 3 out of 10 people you meet think that way, right, Amy? 3 out of 10.
I would say that with the people with whom I live and work, serve, more often than not, they're committed to having legacy, right? They're trying to save something to give to their children, as opposed to saying, okay, no, I worked this hard for my house and now I'm going to give it up. Right? That's more often than not, I would suggest.
Okay. You loving, good, big-hearted person you are.
It's not, no. It's not big-hearted. It's an investment. It's strategic financial planning.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. I see the passion. I'm changed. Reverse mortgage, bad. So, okay. So we've covered about 3 or 4 tools there. Hey, everybody.
Oh, wait, let me offer one more tool. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about is if indeed you have the recovery that people want, that the state would put a recovery to get money back. One of the things that we encourage people to consider is a life estate deed.
Yes.
And that's a deed that will transfer the assets to the next generation or to whomever you choose it to be without going through probate. And one of the things that a tool that we use, a life estate.
Hold on, is the life estate is for?
I get to keep. So my house, I get to keep it. I continue to own it during my lifetime. But yes. I am passing my remainder interest. I need to change that email to the website to yourestateplanningattorney.com or lifeandlegacy.law.
Okay, we need
it will redirect, but we're phasing that one out into lifeandlegacy.law.
Hold on, let's you saying we're changing something? Hold on,
but so there's one thing that's called a life estate deed without the power to revoke it. That it's no longer. And the reason why that's important because with Medicaid, then it's a non-countable asset.
That doesn't count then, right?
Correct.
And that allows, during my lifetime, I'm living here.
I still get my homestead exemption. I get my reduced property taxes for my senior age. And then when I pass away, it goes to whoever I designate without probate.
Mortgage and all?
So a mortgage is secured interest, right? So it's like, what I'm trying to tell people to do is in order to avoid the recovery.
use this. Say the name of this tool again.
A life estate deed.
A life estate deed will allow you to live, enjoy, and when you go,
It transfers.
hold on, now, hold on. How is the life estate deed different from just putting Pookie on the deed with you?
The problem with putting Pookie on the deed with
Why? Why?
is that
I mean, I love him. He's my boy. It's my
right.
baby girl.
You love him, but if you do that, the big issue is capital gains.
Why? By putting him on there, that's a transfer.
If you put if you put him on the deed with you during
Now.
your lifetime.
That's right. That's a transfer.
If you put him on with you, there's two things. There are two different ways we're looking at this. If you put him on while I'm alive and we're joint owners,
with sibling family members,
irrespective, we're on together.
That's right.
Then he gets my tax basis in the property. As opposed to if I transfer it upon death or a life estate deed,
then I'm
he
gonna get a
gets
new
step
basis.
up in tax basis.
That's right. I'm gonna get a step up. Okay.
Right. And so the difference in what you bought for and what you sell it for is capital gains. And that is taxable.
So putting him on the deed while you're still here to avoid probate is bad financially.
Correct.
That's a nice little nugget there, Anthony.
That's a good nugget right there. Because people are trying. I don't know why everybody's trying to avoid probate anyway. I don't fight with the estate people.
No, you know why you avoid probate? Let me tell you.
There's like 100 reasons why they want to avoid probate.
But here's the easiest one. Here's the easiest one to remember. When you have to go through probate, let's say the only thing I have is a house.
Yes.
The first thing that they do is put a notice in the paper that says creditors come first.
Yes.
And if I only have a house, and let's say I was in the hospital for a week.
Yes.
In order to pay that hospital bill, we're going to get the money. Got to sell the house.
Pookie's not going to get it. I can tell you that. Pookie's out.
No.
Creditors in, Pookie out.
You're gonna give you if you only have a house in DC, you're gonna pay that $25 to open up the
to open the estate. You have to satisfy the claims.
Pookie's out.
DC puts a notice in 2 papers for 3 consecutive weeks to say Amy died. Does she owe you any money? You have the time period. You have to satisfy those claims.
This is such a good guess. So important.
Okay, I would just hey. I'm not representing anybody here, so these are just the opinions of Anthony Bowling, not those of
here we go. Disclaimer
or anyone else on this show. But I'm gonna let you know, no, you don't have to pay those claims. And dude, because here is why you first of all. Here's why you want to open up and go to probate, in my experience, is because when mama's gone, we need somebody who can speak for mama if she did a will or didn't, so that the property can be properly transferred to an estate deed so that somebody now is in charge of running and doing something with this property, whether it's selling it. Of course, I always want to sell it. I'm an agent. But even if you're not selling it, you want the proper person in charge of this asset. And all those other creditors who got notice that mama had a Macy's card and this, that, and the other. Hey, no, because Macy's is not going to put a lien on this house.
So let me just tell you, I mean, maybe it's my job that I get confused because American Express sends those checks out, those notices. They pay people to say, yes, there is a notice. All of those creditors do come forward. And the personal representative has a legal responsibility to say that they have satisfied the claims or they cannot close the estate.
She's right.
You're not gonna sell his house to satisfy no
Pookie's
major
out.
job.
Pookie's out. Sorry, Anthony.
It's maybe that's not the job that I've been doing. I mean, maybe that's not the law that I've had to comply with. I'm just saying, because the court will indeed in DC, Maryland, in Massachusetts, if you don't satisfy the claims, especially Maryland, they will not let you move forward.
Fine, but not moving forward is not going to stop you from. You don't have to sell the.
You have to pay, if you
have
don't
to satisfy these
you don't have
claims.
you don't have to sell the house, but you got to pay those bills.
Okay.
So that's why I said, if there's not money to pay the bills, how you gonna pay them?
They're going to
You have
force
to
you to
sell the house, but you have to find a way to pay those bills.
Don't they force you to sell the house at that point?
Not
They
force.
they don't force you to sell the house. They force you to pay the bills. If you have money,
Yes.
okay. Now, if you have money
So
to pay it,
so this is what I've been saying to people for years now. People always trying to avoid probate, trying to save a penny, trying to save $1.
So this is the thing. What you don't realize, Anthony, is if we have a transfer on death deed, we do indeed have a proper way to have a deed where you are indeed now have the authority to have. So you don't have to go through probate
right,
to do that. Right? You don't have to
that was a big nugget. Yeah, okay, you got me on that one.
That's right. Again, we use revocable trust to avoid it. We use transfer on death deed in DC and Virginia. We use life estate deeds in Maryland. All of those things that we use because we believe we want to preserve the house.
There you go. Everybody, this is Amy Griffin. And you can see, brother can't run over her, talk over her. No. She know her stuff.
She gave you the Heisman. You
That's
got
right.
Heisman by Amy.
And that's who you want. That's who you want battling for you. When your real estate agent's in here saying sell, you got a fiduciary over here that's looking out for your best interests.
It's Desmond Howard over there.
The tools to use to help you. That's what we're talking about, man. That's what you need on your team. Let's get this thing straight with the email. You said don't put the TFG whatever.
Right. Lifeandlegacy.law.
Okay.
Or yourestateplanningattorney.com.
Hold on, I'm gonna go www.lifeandlegacylaw.law. And then I'm gonna go, what else?
Yourestateplanningattorney.com.
Your estate planning attorney with an E, attorney. Is it with an E? Y? Just a Y.
Yes, EY.
EY.com. Okay, let's see how that looks. How'd that show up now?
Much better.
Much better. All right. That's Amy Griffin, everybody, with Life and Legacy Counselors. They have multiple offices here in the DMV. About 5. It feels like about 5 offices.
We serve DC, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts.
Look at that. 6 offices.
Well, again, we don't have to now because we've learned how to be virtual everywhere, many places. So that makes it even easier.
Makes it even easier. Black-owned and women-owned law firm, estate planning, estate administration, business planning, elder service, faith, excellence, relationship service, trustworthiness. Man, you saw I tried to go at her.
You got Heisman. Don't even try it.
Don't even try it. And look,
you raised your voice. You did the bowling raise voice.
I did, didn't I? Did it happen? I got all excited.
She kept even keel Heisman you.
That's why we love Amy. That's why we love her. She's here.
It's a good guess.
Amy Griffin, everybody.
Very good guess.
here
information.
on Chasing Gazillions. Not the same as making millions.
Protect that real estate.
Protect that.
Wednesdays with Fernando and Anthony and Amy Griffin. This Wednesday, Amy, we've been trying to do this. This is our second season to try to give our guests the last word.
No.
Let's say my last word is
Yes.
when you're looking at legacy, don't talk to your real estate. Don't talk to a real estate professional. Talk to an estate planning professional.
Oh, what? We got.
She hit you like Kevin Glover. She hit you like Kevin Glover. Bam!
Bam!
She just got head slapped.
Hold on, Amy.
You just got hit by the Hall of Famer.
Did you lose sight what who show this was? Hold on. Did I hear that? I didn't hear that. Did I just hear that?
You said the last
head
word.
slapped.
Hold on. Did you just say?
She did. My favorite guest of all time right now. It was close and then she went over the top.
In closing.
She got the last word, by the way.
Wow.
Strong. That was strong. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Wow.
I promise you I'm going to call you this year. I promise.
Okay.
Hold on. We got some more stuff here from Bushcrafter. He says, oh, this is a question. But can't the owner or siblings start to pay the mortgage down before bad times?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. So that's one of the things about a reverse mortgage. You could conceptually pay the interest down. And so that it doesn't continue to go far, doesn't continue to get out of control, which gets out of alignment with equity.
Okay, that's good. And then we got 3 great professionals providing a wealth of knowledge. Where else can you get this knowledge except on the Fernando and Anthony show? Thank you. That's the Virginia Bushcrafter, everybody. Always,
Virginia. He loves us.
Always watching us. Watch our back. There every show. Amy, we are coming up on the top of the hour. Thank you, dear. You know this only supposed to be a 30-minute show, but
you say that each time I'm on. You said that. I'm like, I'm starting and I believe it's a 30-minute show.
It is. It is only supposed to be a 30. But you keep them so engaged. And that last one, man, I mean, wow. I mean, the numbers could go through the roof on that one. We've enjoyed you. Thank you. You have given us some great information here. Our audience is going to love it. They need it. You know what I didn't have on here, though? That was the websites and all. I did notice you all not using telephone numbers no more. You want people to go on your website?
At the top of the screen on our website.
Oh, at the top of the screen on your website. Okay, but you have a very informative website. It's very dynamic.
Except for the phone number, right?
Huh?
Except for the phone number.
I didn't see the phone number, but I know it's a very dynamic website. It's click. I was able to move around, get information, sign up. I love that. Whole, you got to go to a website for that. She's like, existing customers, you go to this portal. New customers, go to this portal. It's like, go update your plan, or if you're new, go here. I mean, it's wow. Yeah. You just got to admire that.
All right, let's let her go, Anthony. You'll keep rambling for the next 10 minutes. Let's just let her go.
All right. Amy, thank you, dear.
Thank you, Amy.
It was great seeing you again. All the best. Amy Griffin, everybody. Okay. That's right. All right. Bye. Wow. I know, man.
You got Heisman, then you got Kevin Glover head slapped.
Did she say
She did.
Did the babe say
You don't have to repeat it. Don't repeat it. It's embarrassing. It's a little embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
She hit you like Glover did in '84. Whap! You didn't know what's going on here. Right in the ear hole. You were confused.
I was confused.
Holy shit. Wow. Strong.
And well, that is strong. That's somebody that believes in what they do, and
Yes.
you know, yes, they're gonna
Well,
fight
knows
for
what they're
you.
talking about.
Yeah,
Strong
they do.
opinions because it's based on fact.
It is.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I'm comfortable with that. I mean, you know, hey, I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'm always referring people
Well,
to her, man.
you try to get out of your lane, she put you right back in your lane with the Heisman and then the head slap.
Wow, that was like, man.
All right, then.
No, we had a good time. Hey, man,
It's a good
we
show.
1 minute over. I'm gonna see you next week. I don't know if it's next week.
The show is half hour to 40 minutes. We're like 20 minutes over. What are you talking about?
Man.
It was good though. I mean, she was going.
You're right. All right, man. Hey, I'm glad you're back. Hey, man, I wish the best for you and your mom. Hope your mom's get better. Hey, man, get in there with Amy and get your will done, because she talking about dude like you might keel over or whatever.
Well,
don't do that.
You got yours done?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know we got a will.
I actually, after seeing my mom, I thought, my God, it deteriorated so fast.
Right.
I need to get my
You
shit
don't want
done
that.
too.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
I like that living a state will,
Right.
where there's no probate, everything just transfers over to the kids.
I got to get my
Plain.
head around avoiding the probate thing, but okay.
Well, living a state does avoid probate.
I know it avoids it.
Living a state deed avoids everything.
That's what she said.
Well, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with you?
Okay, I don't want to get slapped again. I already told you. She said it.
You're an attorney though too, but you're not an estate attorney.
But I am an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. I'm your real estate professional here at the Anthony Bowling Group, where our leverage relationships, like Amy Griffin, will save you time, make you money, and help you avoid probate.
Yes. Yeah. And if you have a problem or a question, don't call me. Call Amy.
That's right. Because clearly she knows about wills, trusts, estates, probate, deeds.
If you're still alive, though, and you want to sell your real estate, call us.
Hey, no! Can we get back to our show?
I don't like to do the law. I don't practice law. I'm a realtor. I don't practice law.
That's right. Can we get back to, if you are looking to buy, sell, or lease real estate, you might want to call Fernando and Anthony. How about that?
Yeah. If you have a law question, call Amy.
Yeah, call Amy.
She recommends it.
And if you unfortunately have a real estate professional who's trying to talk like they're an attorney, then call Amy. She'll get them straight.
She'll strike a pose. Desmond Howard. She's Desmond Howard.
All right, man. I'm gonna go, man.
See ya. How about brunch?
Okay, come on. Let's do brunch, man. Sunday?
Right.
Sunday?
How does your Sunday look this Sunday?
Yeah, my Sunday's good for you, man. Where we gonna go? Ted's again?
I liked Arlington. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah, I know you like Arlington.
Had a good buzz to it, don't you think?
It was all right.
No, you.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I found a place.
You got a place.
You're did. Paying,
so wherever you want to go.
Okay, it was up in Baltimore because, like I said, I got business I was up in Baltimore. It's a place called Johnny's in Baltimore. It's in some neighborhood called Roland Park or Upland or something.
Yep, I know.
Supposedly that they just like in the last 2 or 3 years got rid of all their racial covenants and black people can come up there now.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Hispanics? Are we good?
I don't know. Hispanics. But I heard that the last racial covenant that for allowing black people to come up, I don't know if we can buy up there, but I did see a couple of us working at Johnny's, so they let us work there now, and we ate. It was nice.
It
Called
was good.
Johnny. It was good.
I'm looking at it now. It looks really good.
Oh yeah.
But
And
no,
it was and you hold on. From Baltimore, like the harbor and down on Howard Street and all, we were driving, and then all of a sudden, when we got up here to this Roland Park area, we sort of went through a neighborhood, and then it was like went from row houses to these big sprawling detached. I mean, I was like, what happened when you? It was like a different, the name is befitting. It's Roland Park Upland. It's upland where we were not allowed, but now we are. So
all right.
we could go there if you want to go to Baltimore. I can show you this Baltimore property.
I see it right here, Rolling Avenue in Baltimore.
Yeah,
Maryland.
yeah.
Let's go there.
We go there for brunch.
All right, I'm gonna book it. I'll do a reservation right now.
All
What
right,
time?
cool. Sunday,
What time?
12, 11.
Let's do 11. Then you can go show me the property afterwards.
Okay, 11. Sunday.
11:30. 11's a
All
little early.
Cool.
All right, see you.
All right, bye.